Can't test the mic.
Can you now? Or are you talking about for the other participants? Okay.
Just about ready.
Give me the go sign whenever you guys are ready.
All the way over. Oh my goodness.
All right, so we are live, returning from our special meeting and executive sessions. At this time, I would ask for a motion to accept the resignation of Amber Crum, mid-year, release her from her contract and waive any mid-year financial penalty for ending her contract prior to the end of it at the summertime with her 2/12 appointment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And just wanted to also just make a quick note that the other three items for executive sessions 1, 2, and 3 will, excuse me, we will take action on those during the, these are the ones that were discussed in the executive session. Those will take place in the new business section of this meeting. So just want to note that. With that, may I have a motion to adjourn the open session, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All righty. Why don't we go ahead and get started then with our regular Board of Trustees meeting. Welcome to the Kansas City, Kansas Community College Board of Trustees meeting on May 16th, Tuesday, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and with that, we will have first on the agenda have the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be announced by Trustee Bruni.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
And-
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next is the KCKCC mission statement, which reads as follows: to inspire individuals and enrich our community, one student at a time. May I have roll call, please?
Trustee Ash,
Here.
Trustee Brown,
Here.
Trustee Bruni,
Here.
Chair Criswell,
Here.
Trustee Daniels,
Here.
Trustee Hoskins Sutton,
Here.
Vice Chair Isnard.
Here.
Thank you very much. Next is the approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the audience to patrons and petitioners. I'd like to invite the public to raise your hand in the chat or approach the podium for the opportunity to address the board. Addressees must state their name and address for the record before making any comment or asking any question. Do we have anyone in the chat?
There's no one in the chat.
Is there anyone at the podium?
Negative.
Oh.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the recognitions and presentations. The first one is a presentation of the strategic plan 2024 through 2027 final draft presented by Ms. Chris Green, Chief Marketing and Institutional Image Officer. Ms. Green?
Hello, thank you. And Randy, if you could display the presentation, that'd be great. Thanks. So I am here today again to speak to you about the strategic plan. In our strategic plan process, I came and talked with you all in December, and we moved forward into January. And I just wanted to remind you of our process through this year to develop the 24 through 27 strategic plan. We focused on listening and providing opportunities for feedback. We had 16 listening sessions, and they were held online and at each of our KCKCC sites, and several of the trustees joined in at different parts. Our steering committee, which was reviewed and prioritized the suggestions from our listening sessions and really did the grist work of fine-tuning, prioritizing, and moving it forward. And then President's Cabinet are the ones that reviewed it and looked at it and fine-tuned. And you guys have it hard copy as well as you had the PDF earlier in your packet. So once we drafted the plan, we of course followed our shared governance process, and we sent it to faculty, staff, and college senate, as well as student senate. And then we went a step further, and that was new this year, and we opened it to open comment with a form asking for feedback. And we received a generally positive feedback and about 13 comments in that open session. The strategic plan priorities are remaining constant from our current strategic plan to the next. And those are student success, quality programs, employee engagement, and community engagement. And really how we took this planning process to this next 3-year level is we looked at the existing goals and initiatives. And in those reports you receive every 6 months, if the initiative said ongoing or completed with a date, underneath that goal we went, oh, we need a new goal. If most of those were still in progress, those initiatives or goals moved forward so we could continue the work until we completed them. We revisited all the KPIs, wrote them a little bit stronger this time, easier to measure as we lived and learned through our first process, and also included this time when all of our baselines would be. So it would be easy to understand where we started and where we are going by 2027. So as you can see in the plan, we've got 4 goals with 4 initiatives under each one and a key performance indicator. And then we will continue to report every 6 months like we did through this strategic planning process. And that is my update. You all have that to review. The action will be next month, and I'm open for any questions you might have about the plan or the process.
I guess I would ask Christy, what did you see as the priorities this time as compared to the last?
They are the same.
The priorities are the same. I guess
Yes.
I'm talking about, as you did the work, were there any particular things regarding the strategic plan that you thought, boy, we really need to focus in on this? Kind of rose to the top?
Yes, there were a few things that came out. One of those was to really focus in on the work that we received the Title III grant to do related to disadvantaged populations and improving our retention and our completion and persistence rates and graduation rates. So that is a strong theme that was changed. Also, this desire for more community engagement came through this strategic plan, and it is part of one of the goals and in several of the initiatives. Under employee engagement, there was a desire to move it to the next level and find not only ways to create employee engagement opportunities, but to actively engage with employees and create that dialogue. So the first plan was really focused on creating opportunities and events and processes to engage. The second one is looking at ways to increase the dialogue and increase the engagement at those events. There was also a strong voice about the fact that we are a multicultural county and community of students, and that we needed to continue to encourage that our employees, our engagement, our information all tended to reflect the fact that we are an inclusive community and we are an inclusive campus. Those were really the new themes that came
Good.
forward.
Those are reflected in your plan.
Mhm.
Thank you, that's helpful. Yeah.
So, Chris, you have 4 priorities.
Mhm.
You have 4 goals under each priority.
Yes.
So how many goals did you revise or change, or what percentage?
Mhm.
I don't expect you to know.
Well, I can't tell you like 22 or something like that. I mean, really,
Right.
there's only 16. But I'm going to say about 50% of them changed or evolved
Okay.
of the
Now,
goals.
how about the initiatives?
I'm going to say closer to 60%.
Okay, so
Of
quite a bit
those.
of revision, updating, or
Mhm.
changing completely.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Christy, I had noticed your baseline comments all the way through, and I think that's going to be very helpful when you go back and try to actually measure progress. You
Yeah.
know the starting line, so.
As a person who puts those reports together, I was very happy to see us include those.
Yeah, I'd say they did a great job on this, and Christy really did a wonderful job leading this entire endeavor. So congratulations to her and the entire team. And as all of you have mentioned, we had a really good strategic plan the last 3 years, but
Yeah.
this one is just that much stronger, right? We learned what went well, what didn't go as well as we wanted, where we needed to tighten up. So I think they've done a wonderful job, and you have the month to provide feedback. And if you have any thoughts or suggestions, please email Cheryl,
Yeah.
and we will get those to Ms. Green.
And also, just so you know, as we move forward through June and into July, the strategic plan will transition to Dr. Baylog. And we've been working through this final stage together, and we'll continue to do so. So that's a smooth handoff to him as he moves forward with the strategic plan.
Christie, I'd also ask in the June meeting, when the board approves this, could you or somebody kind of go through the next steps? How do we make sure that this doesn't get put on the shelf somewhere and forgotten? I mean, what happens next?
Sure.
We got a really good plan. How does that become an action plan that we see things take place? So maybe just those next steps that
Sure.
happen after we approve it.
Sure. And after it is approved, with any comments, just so you all know quickly, it will be shared with our campus via email when the semester begins, but also be a focus of convocation when we kick off our August. And then we will also continue the twice a year reporting, which is really one of the ways that we increase accountability and make it a living document to provide updates twice a year. So that's some of those next steps.
I might be looking for something a little more specific,
Will do.
what's going to happen after that. Thank you. Good program.
Thank you.
Good plan.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Green. Okay, next on the agenda is the presentation of the Strategic Enrollment Management Plan 2023 through 2028 annual update delivered by Dr. Chris Myers, Vice President of Student Affairs and Enrollment Management. Go ahead, Dr. Myers.
Well, good afternoon, almost evening. Good to see you all. So really excited to present another plan, right? So as I've discussed before, we've spent some considerable effort revising a new strategic enrollment management plan, specifically a 5-year plan. And as I talk about this, I hope that you can see that we've really tried to align it with the college's strategic plan also, so that we can really maximize opportunity. Just to give you a recap of the process, so starting with this academic year, or actually prior to that, we created a SIM council to help us start working through the development of this new strategic plan or strategic enrollment management plan. I do want to make special note of Dr. Donna Bone, our Dean of Arts, Communication, and Humanities. She was my trustee co-chair for the process. So very proud to report that representation was really important to us. So we had made sure that we had every college, every division, every department, and students in our respective students as part of this process. And we broke out into multiple committees that worked in terms of like specifically speaking towards specific enrollment management initiatives, as you can see on the screen. And so we had a very collaborative work that worked in many ways in parallel with the strategic planning process with feedback opportunities and stuff like that. One of the things that was important for us as we start to introduce this concept of strategic enrollment management across the entire college and being part of everyone's business is to work on several assumptions that the plan was rooted in. And I think this is some of the best work that the committee did, the council did, specifically in talk about what our assumptions, what we were trying to accomplish this plan, which are in alignment with our fulfillment of our mission. Student success and engagement is paramount. It's what we're all about here. As Ms. Green mentioned, equity is a through line in everything we do. And then also, SEM, strategic enrollment management, is part science and part art, right? Because there's certain things that you can predict and not predict, and you have to be flexible, right? And make decisions. And frankly, it's never done. So we've tried to create a plan for your review and consideration that gives us the flexibility to have key performance metrics, but also be able to adapt and flex towards economic trends, enrollment trends, and everything like that. So to be much more proactive and reactive. And it's also important for us to also talk about how, was representing this graphic, how the enrollment plan interacts with all of our different planning initiatives at the college. The mission's center, but these work in tandem. So if you look at other colleges and universities' strategic enrollment management plan, they might specifically talk towards new academic programs or technology, right? But we have other planning initiatives related to that. So this allowed us to focus specifically on enrollment, persistence, attracting new students. Overall, it's a 5-year goal to achieve the high FTE full-time equivalency of 3530, which we had in fall 2008. It's approximately 3.5% increase each year of a 15% growth. Knowing that there's going to be some recalibration as we go through, as we bring on new campuses, new locations, and opportunities like that. The other thing that we worked on was specifically to state our calls to action. What are those things that we know that we do well, but also need to do better or be much more sophisticated towards when it comes to our enrollment management planning. One of the things is that we need better information about our incoming students. One of the things that's very challenging, especially with a community college population, is to try to identify what their intent is. Are they here to transfer out to another program, receive a certificate? Are they here just for fun? Sometimes they are, right? So we have to build better and more sophisticated processes that we can know their intent as they engage with us as a prospective student, so that we can set them up on the proper success plan to meet their needs. More frequent communication across the college related to student success is critical. Everyone has a point in that, and so we have to be much more adaptive and much more proactive in sharing how everybody at the college can impact student success. And then also, frankly, our retention and completion rates. So one of the things we put in the plan is specific targets and metrics that will contribute towards that. And the other thing, which is kind of a passion project of mine, but I'm also very pleased that a lot of folks here at the college are identifying, is that we need to improve our processes, our operations, and things related to that. That message just became very clear that there's lots of ways that we can lean into the technology and services to better serve our students, but also improve our operation and bottom line. In the plan that you'll see, we outlined 13 key performance indicators. So these are those measurable goals that we can start measuring specifically to measure our progress when it comes to enrollment management applications. And they're all rooted in the strategic priorities of the strategic plan. So for example, I wanted to show a few examples here. So with student-centered processes, one of the things that we can do to improve is improve our marketing efforts, improve our communication efforts to attract more students. So last year we had 5,149 applications, and about a third of those converted into full-time students, or into not full-time students, but students into our college. So it's about, for every 3 applicants, about one of those students becomes a student. one of the goals is to increase our applications for admission by 18%. So that'd be 6,000 more applications. If we use that same yield percentage, it'd be about 2,055 students. So couple that with the goal of increasing our yield, what I mean that's more students who get admitted, enroll. If we increase that by 2.5%, that compounds to 2,157 new students. So almost close to 500 more students just by improving our application for admission processes and yielding more students. And so those are the things that we want to create those baseline metrics that we could monitor on an ongoing basis after every semester to figure out what's working, what's not working, what we need to adapt to. And those are things that we're currently working on right now, even for the fall semester. The other goal related to retention and persistence in the plan is to achieve a 58% retention rate. Using our fall 2021 cohort of incoming first-time students, the IPES definitions, that was 576 FTE. If we improve to 58% based on that metric, it would be 655 FTE, so that would be about 80 or so additional full-time students. But we know that if we improve that, all students benefit from that, right? And so there's lots of ways, there's multiple metrics that we have in there so we can start measuring progress around specific targets related to like what the screen talked about, the Title III grant and things like that also. And then completion, that's the bottom line, getting more students completed. And one of the things that we wanted to do in the plan was specifically state the areas where we see equity gaps. Based on most recent data, about 6% fewer African-American students graduate than the average KCKCC student and 4% female graduates. If we close those equity gaps, that it has tremendous impact in terms of the number of graduates. So as we've worked through developing these metrics, the other thing that the SEM Council did was identify over 100 strategies or so, specific ways to improve the bottom line when it comes to enrollment management and our persistence ability. Many of those we identify are things that certain departments, where it be the registrar's office, financial office, should do already. So we kind of sat there and said, those are great ideas, but let's make sure those are operationalized. So what we present in the plan are specific strategies which we feel are large scale enough that involve everyone across the college to improve. And they fall under specific themes in there, but this is an example of this graphic or some of those themes. It's like, and really what we're trying to emphasize is as we improve our application for admission, so it's much more simple, so that we make decisions or we get informed students much quicker, that they're involved, that they're admitted. That also improves our ability to attract them, be more successful. So all these ideas are designed to integrate with the overall planning of our group. So speaking to the comment previously, like how do we make sure that we don't forget about the strategic enrollment management plan, is what we're presenting is the SEM Council's work is not done, but we will transition to more of a tactical team, an implementation team, which has multiple folks around campus to start working through these strategies. For example, one of the strategies is to improve our orientation program for incoming students. That's going to involve campus-wide effort. So going to that, and then also permeating beyond that, so that specific tactics go down to the individual department and programmatic level. So what our plans are as we start collecting more feedback from you and others is to start transitioning to more of an implementation team over the summer, so that we can have that continuum level of engagement of measuring the metrics and the KPIs to continue to monitor progress. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions or comments.
Just a real quick comment, Dr. Morris, I really, really like this plan. I'm particularly moved by the use of data and technology, which it's so important. It is one of the highest priority items when it comes to moving an organization forward, and modernizing and such. So, it's nice to see evidence that we're going in the right direction. If you look 15 years ago, maybe wasn't so much the case, but, now that Super Chris is here and Dr. Moser and the staff, I'm just really, really pleased to see how you all are going about your process, for this. And then also, of course, closing equity gaps. That's always something that we want to be striving for. So just, thanks for being mindful of that. So.
Thank you. It's definitely a team effort. It's been a really enriching progress working with everybody to kind of get to this point.
Right. Other questions or comments?
Chris, I was struck by a couple of things. One is how much advising is mentioned in the plan. And it made me think, we've been talking about advising programs for a couple of years, and you're talking about really enhancing that. And I'm curious as to, and I don't want you to answer this question now, but I'm just curious how that's going to look like on campus. Is that everybody hands on deck, that every faculty member becomes an advisor? Is that still left to the professionals we have
Right.
doing advising? So what that's going to look like? 'Cause I think we all have realized how important those relationships are with our students. The second thing I thought, for all the time I've been here, I have never heard the word trauma used, I don't think, anywhere. And trauma in Wyandotte County is one of the most critical health issues that we're facing right now. We have one of the highest, if not the highest rate of trauma among young people of any city in the state, if I'm not mistaken. I was just struck by the fact that your group has recognized that and realized that affects students on this campus as well as students otherwise. And to have that mentioned, I thought was really important. I was struck by the fact that your group recognized that as something that we need to be working on too.
Thank you, Dr. Daniels. To your 2 points real quick, it's really about that continuum of care.
Yeah.
And so that, about advising, it's going to be very much an all hands on deck as we actually start embracing more of a guided pathways approach, where we actually focus not necessarily on the major you're going to fall into, but career exploration. So I appreciate your comments, because that's really what we're trying to attend, is to basically make sure that everyone is capable of helping support a student no matter where they work at the college.
Thank you. Good plan.
Yeah, good stuff.
I would say, yeah, very good job by his team as well. And maybe one thing that the board would notice, we've really become an institution that just doesn't do a bunch of activities. We base our activities based on plans, and that we have a strategy and we implement those plans. And then we really have become more and more data informed. So utilizing the data that we have available, we still have a lot of cleanup of data that we need to work on, which we are, but we really have become an institution that's focused on developing and implementing really good, strong plans so that we can stay on track over the course of multiple years than just we're going to try this over here and we're going to try this over here. So, yeah, very good job.
Thank you. Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Myers. Okay, moving on. The next on the agenda is the presentation of the proposed new KCKCC alma mater, presented by Mr. Andrew Guevara Alatorre, Student Senate President.
All right. Well, good afternoon, Board of Trustees. Today I bring to you, I'll wait. All right, today I bring to you all a recording and a timeline for a new alma mater for KCKCC. First, I'll start with the recording. It's of the choir singing. We only had like one day to sing through it and learn it, so it's not perfect. There's like a few missed notes here and there, but overall, I think it's an amazing piece of work.
We need one more. That's all right. We're good now.
All right, you ready?
One and two and one. Come and treasure true love the dark, standing as a pillar of the faded dawn, extending opportunity to those from near and far. We celebrate the differences that make us who we are.
All right. Got chills. Well done.
I have one of my co-writers over there, Eden Barnes. And then over here is my choir director, choir professor, John Stafford. He composed the piece. So it was amazing. I was blown away the first time I heard like the music. So on the slide here, I have an idea for a title, All with Pride. Let's see here. So I thought pride because we should all be proud to be a part of KCKCC. We are making things happen and we all have a role that keeps the school running. And thank you to everyone in this room for doing that. We need a song that celebrates not only our school's accomplishments, but every one of us that make it happen. And of course, this title is just an idea. This song and the title will all go to this different Senate and to the board. So you all can provide feedback. And I also brought a timeline with me. So in the summer, around like August, I'll send a letter and a file. There's still like some revisions that we're going to do to the song. So we'll send our final draft to the different senates and along with like a letter explaining how or why we're doing it and how it came to be, and for them to provide feedback during their September meetings. And that way we could have feedback for the October Board of Trustees meeting. And then after that, hopefully we'll get approved by the board, and then we'll get official recordings done. And then next year, hopefully my future president over there, and I'll introduce them later during my report, will help me spread it across campus, such as like including it in like welcome packets for incoming students and hanging a banner in the field house, hopefully singing it at future graduation ceremonies and so on. So in the next slide is just a thank you to a group of people, Miss Andrika Wilcoxon, for giving me the idea to come up with a new song for KCKCC. Of course, Professor John Stafford for helping me write it, and the choir for singing, Eden Barnes for helping me write it, Jabri Kopich, he's my roommate and friend, also for helping me write it, Tasha Haas and Carrie Domino for helping me with ideas, and then of course to Dr. Mosier for helping me just getting it all together and helping me with the next steps. All right, I'll be happy to answer any questions or take any comments.
Outstanding.
Yeah,
Well done.
Great
good.
job.
Yeah, great.
Thank you. It only gets better from here, right?
Five sharps,
Andrika.
Mr. Stafford. 5 sharps, really. Sounded good.
Yeah,
Sounded
excellent.
very good.
I will say that tenor line was really high, but I did it. Oh, wow.
That's 5 sharps.
Yeah, great job, Andrew. Really good job, and you should be really proud of yourself and your
Yes,
fellow students
everyone.
and Mr. Stafford and the music program. But I mean, you took this project upon yourself
Yeah.
and upon your shoulders, and you made it happen this year. So you should be very proud of that. It sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Sure that gets on your resume.
Yeah.
We look forward to singing it in the graduation, 2024?
24, yeah.
I'll be there just for that.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, thank you, Andrew.
Well done.
Very well. Okay, excuse me. Next on the agenda is the presentation of Downbeat Magazine's 2023 Student Music Awards presented by Mr. Jerry Pope, Vice President of Academic Affairs. Mr. Pope?
Hello, everyone. You can
Hello.
see this nice banner that's back here, an ad that was created by a number of people on campus in our marketing department. So thank you. And it lists all the awards. And so we've asked Professor Stafford and Dr. Bennick to just make a brief comment about some of the things that have been going on in the music department, especially this year, and then a little bit more about these amazing 15 awards that they won, your students won.
Good teachers.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
And I just wanted to let you know, I'm John Stafford, and I'm the choral director here at the college. And I just wanted to present to you just a few of the highlights that we had here as a department. Just to let you know, our KCKCC Blue Devil Funk Band, directed by Dr. Bennick behind me, was featured to perform at the Jazz Education Network National Conference in Orlando, Florida, and the Kansas Music Education Association Conference in Wichita, Kansas, that happens every February. So they were selected to perform at those conferences. Next, myself, I also serve as the National Jazz Repertoire and Resources Chair for the American Choral Directors Association. So I serve a 6-year term, and so this is the first year, which means 3 national conferences. So this is the first year I served on national conference in Cincinnati, Ohio in February. The next thing that we've done, all 4 of us in our area, Dr. Bennick, Dr. Corbett, Professor Mayer, and myself, throughout the year, we have clinicked, either was an adjudicator at a festival, or we have given academic presentations, really not only across the country, but globally as well. As we speak right now, Dr. Ian Corbett, who runs the audio engineering department, he's giving a presentation at the European Conference of the Audio Engineering Society in Helsinki, Finland, right now. So we are fortunate enough to have these opportunities. Going along, we also had incredible on-campus guest artists, including the New York Voices, Impact, Accent, 4 freshmen, Kristen Corbin, Sage. Several of those artists are either Grammy Award winners or Grammy nominated. Next, one of my ensembles, the Standard Vocal Jazz Ensemble, performed at the Folly Theater, opening up for Sweet Honey on a Rock, which is another Grammy-nominated ensemble. That was this past March. And lastly, a lot of our students perform all over town outside of the college. They run jam sessions and perform at many of the jazz clubs in town, including the Uptown Lounge and the Musicians Mutual Foundation. And then I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Bennick, who will talk about our recent success with the Downbeat Awards.
Good afternoon, board. I apologize for the current state of my throat. Pollen is a great thing this time of year, especially when you're a singer. It's awesome. But moving forward and talking about the Downbeat Student Music Awards, I have an interesting perspective on these awards because I actually have served as a judge for the Student Music Awards in the past. And so it's one thing that I think is actually really cool and really important to know about the Downbeat Student Music Awards is that one thing that adjudicators are told is that we actually don't have to give any awards if we don't feel that there is something that is deserving of recognition in that particular category. So the success that we have in the Downbeat Student Music Awards is actually something that's really very cool because it's not just well, okay, yeah, they were the only community college who applied in this category, so we'll just give it to them. It's legitimately, this is recognition from the highest circulation jazz magazine in the United States. So just a couple of fun facts and figures about this. So our students and our faculty earned 15 Student Music Awards from Downbeat Magazine for the 2nd consecutive year. It's this year, as last year, the only school in the country that earned more than we did was the University of Miami. Wow. Which is kind of cool company to keep. Incidentally, it's the University of Miami and us are the only 2 schools to earn 30 or more Student Music Awards in a 2-year time span within the past 7 years, and the only 2 to earn 40 or more in a 4-year span. In total, since 2017, which was the first time that any ensembles or any students from the college earned a Student Music Award from Downbeat Magazine, we've earned a total of 48 Student Music Awards, which is double the number earned by any other community college in the United States. That number 24 belongs to our friends up the road in Southwestern Community College in Creston, Iowa, who have a wonderful program. And that number also is tied for 4th among all schools, period. The only schools in the United States in that time frame that have earned more Downbeat Student to Music Awards than KCKCC are the University of Miami, the University of Northern Colorado, and Caleb Chapman's Soundhouse, which is an honors jazz program that's based out of Park City, Utah. I want to share a quick video clip with you all. This is Luck 20, which earned, well, I'll talk about them in a second, but I just want to share a little bit with you here. So this composition was actually written by the group's pianist, Parker Woolworth, who was actually the big winner at KCKCC this year. Luck 20 won the category for the outstanding blues pop rock group in this year's Downbeat Awards. Additionally, Parker won the award for instrumental jazz soloist. The Parker Woolworth Trio won the instrumental small group category, and Parker won the category for original jazz composition. So we're really proud of our students, and we're specifically proud of what this particular accomplishment means. And we're grateful to you all for the support that you provide to us and the opportunity to share to be here and to share this with you. One last little bit of cool news that actually literally happened yesterday. As you know, we have a partnership with the Ella Fitzgerald Charitable Foundation. Yesterday, I got some mail from Fran Morris-Rosman, the executive director, who actually sent me the medallion that the Ella Fitzgerald Charitable Foundation received when Ella was inducted into the American Jazz Walk of Fame down in the 18th and Vine district. Fran's basically made the comment to me that she felt like this would be a perfect home for this particular medal. So
Nice.
that's just kind of a little extra note as far as something cool going on. But again, thank you for your support of everything that we do in the music department. The support that we get from the college really is quite remarkable, and it allows us to provide our students the opportunities that allow them to be recognized in the way that they are. If you have any questions or comments for us, we'd be happy to take them.
Great job.
Incredible.
Thank you.
And congratulations, but we always have to remember that only happened because we have great instructors.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the work you're doing on behalf of the students, because it's
Appreciate
you that make it happen, so thank you.
Takes a commitment from the faculty to make all of this happen, because you could just do your classes and go home, right?
What was that?
You could just do your classes and say, oh, we're not going to take the extra step. We're not going to make all these trips, but you do for the students, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
It's great job. And I shared this with one of the writers at AACC, so they'll be picking it up in the AACC journal here probably in the next month or so whenever you get that done.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell.
But if you could stay there for just a second, and Vice President Pope, can you come up? So on behalf of the college, we really appreciate appreciate all that you do. And in the magazine, they've got a really wonderful full
Oh.
page article with
Yeah.
all of the awards. And Christy and her wonderful department has put this plaque together for you to commemorate all the awards that you have won this year and the hard work by the music department and the faculty and students and everything. So
Thank you.
thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Great.
Well done.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, next on the agenda is the communications, which will be presented by Dr. Mosher. Go ahead, Dr. Mosher.
Yes, thank you. So we have a very special event coming up. It's next Thursday, May 25th at noon. As you all know, Rita Blitt, the world-renowned artist, really, who has donated a lot of the drawings and the paintings that you see around campus, and did the design work on turning one of her drawings into this sculpture Ascension, which is out in front of Centennial Hall. We've been working with her during this last year, and she has turned 2 other of her drawings into sculptures. They're going to be installed early next week, and we will have the unveiling of those on the 25th, weather permitting. If we get rained out, we'll have a different date in mind. We had it for the 25th. Rita was here last week, and she was on campus, and we got to visit with her and show her around and some of her paintings that are hanging. And she's working with a biographer who is writing her life story, and a writer, and they're out from England putting that together. And she was hoping to be able to be here for the event, but she had to return home to San Francisco. But anyway, we'll live stream the event with the help of Randy and his crew. So we'd love to have you here in person. We'll have kind of heavy hors d'oeuvres, snacks, being lunchtime. And if you can't make it, we will be sending out a link so that you can watch it live as we unveil the 2 sculptures. One will be in front of the Learning Commons, and the other will be in between the Jewel building and the pond. So hope you can make this really special event.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, Dr. Mosher. Next up, the board committee, excuse me, may I, oh, that's right, okay, sorry, looked at the wrong things. Next are the board committee reports. We'll start with the Board Finance Committee.
All right, thank you, Chair Criswell. Good evening, trustees. For this month's meeting of the Board Finance Audit and Facilities Committee, I was joined by Trustees Ash and Bruni. I'll try not to steal Dr. Knuven's entire report here, but there were a few things that I wanted to point out that were some developments this month. The first, if you take a look at the financial statement reports, you will notice a decrease in our net position in April by about 4.8 million. I just want to point out that this was not a reflection on any of the great work done by the board or the administration in managing those resources. It's really just the ups and downs throughout the year of revenues that happen in generally kind of small windows. So this was expected, so nothing that we needed to be concerned about. Some good news, the college was able to make another investment during April in the form of a 3.5 million CD with Security Bank. I know we're working hard as a group, and I know the administration has to increase that so we can take advantage of those interest rates. So, and then we were told that there's also another one that is in process, another 3 million with Commerce Bank. And the rate for that one was coming in at over 5%. So I happened to look at just this time last year today to see what the going rate was at that time, and it was only 0.5%. So quite a difference there.
Wow.
So that is basically free revenue for the college. We want to get all of that we can. So Lastly, just a few items that we've passed on for approval later this evening. On the recommendations for payment, you'll see some agreements and payments being finalized for both Copaken Brooks, hope I'm saying that correctly, and then PGAV to be owner's rep and for architectural services for the downtown campus project. So it's exciting to see some of those things beginning to happen and move as we get closer to breaking ground. So, and then lastly, and Dr. Kinuvan will be presenting later in the meeting a approval for Novak Burks to continue as the college's and the foundation's financial auditors. So as you can see, you had a full slate this month, but at this time I'll take any questions. Otherwise, that concludes my report.
Any questions for Vice Chair Snart? May I have a motion to approve the report, please?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, Vice Chair Snart, and also thank you to the administration and to the Finance Committee, because I know it's some work to get these numbers together and to make sense of them and you know, and to be moving us ahead as we should be financially. So thank you again. Okay, so moving on then, let's see, looks like for the Board Policy Committee, looks like it's going to be reporting a little bit later in the meeting under new business. Is that still correct, Trustee Hoskins Sutton?
Yes, Chair Criswell. Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, moving on to the Board Community Engagement Committee, Trustee Brown.
Yes, we have been working diligently to make sure we get out and about in the community to let them know what we're doing here at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. We've had a meeting with Livable Neighborhoods. We also had a meeting with Leadership 2000, and we've got 2 others scheduled with some neighborhood groups. And our intent is to make the rounds in our community to let them know. We still hear a little bit, but about the fact that they didn't know that we were building downtown, but we don't want them to be able to say that too many more months after this, that we should be around and about to get the word out there. So we're excited about getting out and talking with our community to let them know what we are doing. And I believe, Pat, you told me our numbers were, what about?
We're a little over 100 people that we've met with in the last 3 weeks. So
Wow.
we've been stopping them on the street.
Wow, impressive.
So that's what we have to report today.
Oh, that's wonderful. Good news. Quick question. The presentation, have you been sharing that with some of the folks you've been interacting with?
Oh, yes.
We're taking the one-page flyer, and just to congratulate staff one more time, we got the question at Livable Neighborhoods, was the flyer available in Spanish? And I had to say, well, not today. But guess what? Christy and her team, it's available in Spanish now. So it's gonna help us as we go out and shake hands with everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. All righty. Anything else? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the report, please?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again to the entire committee. Next, the KACCT delegates, Trustee Ash and/or Trustee Hoskins Sutton.
Yes, thank you, Chair Criswell. Not a lot to report. The Kansas legislature was a very interesting session, but and they were, you know, finally got it together pretty good, I think, but at least in terms for us. So good news for the community colleges and some dollars that we're getting and so on and so forth. And Heather Morgan has sent a final report about that out. I think it's final, pretty sure it's final. And so I'll forward that on to you. I was looking at it today. It's a spreadsheet with a whole bunch of data on it, but you can kind of look and see where we are in comparison to the other colleges. We did pretty well. So I think the next meeting is in June in Dodge City, Kansas. So Marshall Wyatt Earp will be available. and
Matt Dillon.
able to assist anybody that might need it. And then I think I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correct, that Cheryl has been sharing information about the ACCT meeting later in the year and so forth. So those of you that are, considering that, be sure you get information back to her so we can take advantage of early registrations and signups and all of that kind of thing. And that's really about it. Unless, Linda, do you have anything from ACCT from your committee? No update? Okay.
No, I just
Yeah.
got well, Cheryl actually got it, that I needed to go on and register, so she went on and registered me.
Good.
Because I want to make sure that that everyone on the DEI is ready to have the meeting October 7th.
Yes.
She did go on and register me so that
Good.
CCT would know that I am registered to attend.
Okay. That's all I have. Let's Dr. Mosher. Oh, I kind of sort of collaborated with Dr. Mosher on Heather's evaluation. I asked him if he wanted to collaborate, and he said, sure. And then I said, you know what, you work with her a lot more closely than I do. So he completed it. He sent it to me. I certainly concurred with everything that he had there. And since then, Arlen Leiker has sent the combined report and the final evaluation that went to Heather. I'm happy to pass that along too. And Heather does an incredible job, and really just at least one area where she does everything by herself, pretty much. I know she got a great ready response team of the presidents that help her quite a bit and so forth. Some of the financial officers too, and so forth. But because the Board of Regents or the legislature, they want a data request, and they give you 24 hours or 48 to get it in. But outside of that, Heather could use some help with a little more IT support. We need a better website. We need a better social media presence, more timely, better communication, and so forth. So we've encouraged her. And I don't think Dr. Mosher was the only one, based on the evaluation she got, the combined evaluation that she received, encouraging her to reach out and get some help there. So.
Yeah, she does do an incredible job, and she's a kind of a one-person show. So she could use some additional support in that area. So if there's a request to come through to help financially support that too, I would definitely be in favor of that, because she works long hours every day.
I don't know how many gigabytes or megabytes her hard drive is, but it's incredible how much information she can process and recall quickly. But that'll conclude the report, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. May I have a motion to approve the report, please?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, all committees. Next is the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up is the Student Senate Report, presented by Mr. Andrew Guevara Alatorre, Student Senate President. Go ahead.
Hello again, Board of Trustees.
Hello.
Today, I bring with me two special people, both of my friends. They will be in charge of Student Senate next year. All right, so come on up. Don't be scared. So Miss Elizabeth Daniels here will be the president of Student Senate next year, and then Miss Eden Barnes will be the vice president.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And then we have as secretary Tyler Lukens, and then treasurer is Z Coffee, my roommate. So Elections went well. We did elections May 1st through 5th, and we did that online. We got, I'm not sure, like, I want to say like around 30 votes. So they won fair and square. All right, I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
As Andrew introduced me, I am Elizabeth Daniels. I am the future Student Senate President for next year. I am so excited to work with all of you. I know many of you I've probably met before, but I'm so excited to work with all of you and keep you updated on everything that's going on with Student Senate next year. A little bit about me, just a little quick introduction. I am a chapter officer of Phi Theta Kappa, which is the honor society here on campus. I am a member of Fringe Benefits of Education, an organization here on campus. I am a resident assistant at the dorms, and of course, I will be the future Student Senate President.
You will be a busier student.
When do you do school?
Somewhere.
She's our resident overachiever. Hi, I'm Eden Barnes. I'm going to be Vice President of Senate next year. I'm very excited to meet you all again, but also to work more closely with all of you and with Liz.
Good.
All right, and they'll be helping me with the rest of the presentation too. So this is your first presentation or first Board of Trustees presentation. So yay. So I have it in reverse order because I wanted to introduce them first. But we had an Easter event on Friday, April 7th from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Tech Center. We had 141 attendees, 75 of them being children and 66 being adults. And then I'm not sure what we served for food. Did we serve food?
We had hot dogs. I think we had hamburgers. There was cotton candy, popcorn. There was a lot of food there. Yeah, snow cones. There was a lot of food there.
Point is, the community had fun. And then I had fun. There's a picture of me with the bunny up there. Yeah. All right. And then, of course, we did our Student Senate President Cabinet Shadow Day. We had a lot of fun. We had lunch with the cabinet. We had an opportunity to tour the site of the future downtown campus. We got to go inside the church. Got to see all that. It's nice to see that some of the parts of the church will be, what's the word? I don't know. They'll be used for repurposed. Thank you, Eden. For the new downtown campus. We started early at 8 a.m. and we had lunch and we went on the tour. We also had a policy review meeting with Miss Christina McGee. We got to learn about how the policies here on campus, like how they get approved and how it goes through the different senates and how there's feedback involved. Let's see, I think that's all I had for this presentation. I will mention that we also handed out the budgets for our clubs, so they all have their budgets for the upcoming school year. And then just here's a nice photo of us as a Senate. Kind of sad, it's my last year. But every one of these members are amazing people, and I hope some of them will be leaving and graduating, but I'm happy for the Student Senate of next year. Right, that's all I have. Any questions or comments?
Excellent report as always, and congratulations to the newly elected officers, of course.
Yes,
Anything else?
congratulations definitely to the new incoming leadership. But Andrew, thank you very much for everything that you've done for the Student Senate and your time in service. I know that's a lot to try and keep up with while you still have to worry about your schoolwork too. So we appreciate it.
Had fun.
I think you and your team have done an amazing job this school year. So congratulations to all.
Get ready for what's coming up. You get
Big day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job, Andrew.
Move approval of the report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next is the President's Report presented by Dr. Mosier. Go ahead, Dr. Mosier.
Great. Thank you, Chair Criswell. Well, good evening, everyone. It's commencement week, so one of the most exciting weeks of the year for sure. We have a lot of events going on to celebrate our student success, and tonight was just a taste of what our students can accomplish and do accomplish every year. So I'm looking forward to that. The ceremonies are both very full. We have our 2:00 ceremony that they take place in the field house, which is our Associate of Applied Science degrees and our technical certificates. And I think that one is at max capacity. And then our 7:00 is our Associate of Arts, Associate of Science, Associate of General Studies, et cetera. So, and we have a lot of students graduating this year. So looking forward to those events. Right now it's 6:13, so 13 minutes ago, the Physical Therapy Assistant Program started their graduation ceremony, their pinning ceremony. They're over at the Technical Education Center, so we've sent them our well wishes. Tomorrow night, we have the 7th cohort for our Industrial Maintenance Technology short-term certificate that we do as a customized training, but they also get college credit for it. So if they want to, they can continue beyond the certificate and get a longer certificate or go right into the Automation Engineering Technology program. So that's exciting, and the businesses around us are very excited that we have that. I was at the Leavenworth County Development Council board meeting at the end of last week, and they mentioned in Leavenworth County a great need for mechanical technicians. So we are setting them up to know about this program because it's also 50% funded by Workforce AID through the Department of Commerce. So it's a great opportunity for our businesses as well. At 7:00 tomorrow, we have our nursing pinning ceremony in the field house, so hope you can make that. And last but not least, we have our GED celebration that will take place at 7 p.m. Tuesday, May 23rd in the Performing Arts Center. So I encourage everyone to come and help us celebrate our student successes as we wrap up the semester. And it seems like just yesterday, but it was about 2 weeks ago, we had our annual employee recognition ceremony, which was a nice event. So thank you everyone who put that together. We celebrated 118 faculty and staff members from the college, our Blue Devil family. And when we looked at total years of service, it was 2,510 years of service with that group. So pretty amazing. And we had about 7 people retire. So going to dip their toe into retirement and see what that is like and see if they come back and do other things. Next Thursday, I mentioned the Rita Blitt event. A few quick items because we do have a full agenda. Last week, I believe it was on a Monday or Tuesday, I was in front of the Economic Development and Finance Subcommittee of the Unified Government, and they passed the proposal for the Unified Government to sell us the parcels of land that we need for the project. I'll show those a little bit later so you know what those are. So that will go to the full commission on the 25th. But that also happened to be the night of the home field project presentation to the EDF. So it's an amazing project. It's grown incredibly. It's now over a $900 million project, an entertainment district, Margaritaville, restaurant and hotel. It's a big shot, which is like a Top Golf center. It will have 60 bays in it, so the largest in the Midwest. There'll be an indoor amphitheater, 55,000 square feet, an outdoor amphitheater, all sorts of indoor and outdoor swimming activities, and 8 baseball fields that they use for when the high schoolers are playing, where recruiters can come and watch them. So, you know, that goes toward almost another $1 billion project in Wyandotte County in the next 5 years or so as they build that out. So that's terrific news for Wyandotte County.
Mosher, excuse me, where's it going to be located?
It is down where the older water park is by the RV camping.
Oh, where Slitterbomb?
Slitterbomb and Camping World in that area. The big steel building that you see, there's a sign about the home of the Quilt Museum.
Yes.
But that's actually one of the amphitheaters. I think that's the 55,000 square foot amphitheater, or one of it. But so it starts on State Avenue and it builds very far north.
Yeah.
By the soccer field, practice fields. This morning, Dr. Balog and I had the opportunity to join the Unified Government Vision Summit for Plan KC, which is a strategic planning venture by the Unified Government, and really brought in community members from across the county. So they have some really good ideas in motion. So we'll continue to work with that group. And lastly, the Federal Economic Development Administration released the notice of funding opportunity for the regional technology and innovation hubs. That's what I'm working with the Kansas Department of Commerce for a $150 million grant application to have a hub here in Kansas. We don't know where it will go yet, but we're working on determining that. And I think that deadline is August 15th. So with those things going on, it continues to be a very busy schedule, but just a lot of really wonderful things that are happening in KCKCC and around us. So want to recognize and thank everyone for their hard work this year, for this academic year. It's been a great success, and I just can't express my gratitude enough to all of our faculty and staff and to the board for all of your work and your support that you give the college just all the time. So thank you very much. And with that, I will wrap up my report.
Any questions or comments for Dr. Mosher?
Well, approve the report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Mosher. Great report as always. All right, next up is the Vice President of Academic Affairs report delivered by Mr. Jerry Pope. Go ahead, Mr. Pope.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'll just point out a few things that I thought were really interesting in this report, and then any questions that anyone has. It was National Poetry Month, so the Writing Center celebrated that, and you can see we had a poetry contest, poetry reading, poem in your pocket celebration, and so there's kind of a nice picture there of those around our campfire area in the Learning Commons. The Center for Teaching Excellence, there are a number of events that center through its director, faculty director, Tom Grady, put on for our faculty. And I think you can see that list. It's kind of nice to have that list at the end of the year. There were some academic symposiums that you see. We were able to recognize our Teach Award recipients, and those were our Dr. Todd Gordon in biology, and then Christopher Paul White in health professions. So they received, Dr. Gordon is a full-time faculty member, and Mr. White is an adjunct faculty member who also is an EMT at the fire department here. So you can see there were some sessions approaching universal design for learning to support students with assignments. First Fridays, where there are professional development sessions where we focus on hybrid and high flex teaching, pedagogy. The Blue Devil Faculty Academy, this is a year-long academy. It's an orientation program for new full-time faculty. So a lot of times, especially in our career and technical education programs or our health professions programs, but actually all across the college, we have faculty that have been working, but they've not really been teaching, so they're new to teaching. So this was the result of one of our negotiations, I think 2 years ago, but I'm a little lost on the cycles. So faculty participating, we do give release time for them to do that their first year. So you can see part of what they do. and the sessions that are there. So we really are working to support our faculty at all stages of their development and all stages of their tenure here. The Jazz Summit, there were 73 ensembles participating over 4 days, high school and middle school groups from Seattle to St. Louis to Tulsa, and approximately 1,500 musical students from high schools on campus during those days. We had a wonderful performance April 25th. Sage, I almost said it wrong again, but Sage performed. Dr. Balog was in the audience there, and I know Dr. Bowen who left, but it was really a fantastic event. And I think Trustee Sutton was there, so it was a fantastic event, and it's really wonderful to be able to support events such as that. I went to the final concert, which was a couple of weeks ago. My days are running together. And a visiting performer and songwriter and arranger led. It was singing her songs and her music or her arrangements. She led it she led the students in that concert. It was really a fun concert and a fun opportunity for students. I have a great picture of probably 100, 125 of our students on the stage there. So it was a very exciting event. The Adjunct Appreciation Expo, I talked about that last time, but that was an exciting event, and we're really working on getting our adjunct instructors as engaged as possible in events at the college. So I think that's a really good thing. There's a picture of the mural that was designed by art student Justice Burris that's in the art studio. So that's a really dramatic mural that's there if you have an opportunity to walk down the hallways or to see it. Skills USA, we have students that are going to Atlanta in June to participate. You'll see anybody that won a gold medal in this report are going to be able to go to Atlanta to participate. So exciting for those students and their sponsors. I was flipping through here and I forgot the word. Nursing Superstar Award. So the nursing department is doing some new things to try to recognize students. And there were over 60 nominations. And so there was an RN student, a PN student, an RN faculty, and a PN faculty. And those will be announced tomorrow at their pinning. So kind of exciting. I was able to participate in a couple of meetings with the Commission on Accreditation for Respiratory Care. So our program believes, based on that visit, we haven't got final word yet, but the program will be reaccredited fully for the next 10 years. So kudos to the faculty and students and the leadership in that area. Tammy Jones is a faculty in respiratory therapy. She's going to be retiring, so congratulations. I always love it when we have students that won scholarships. So you'll see that biotechnology student and dual high school enrollee Shane McRae was awarded a $10,000 scholarship, and that is the Casey Royals Charity Scholarship. It's presented to only 5 students, so very excited for that student and for that award. And then we had a couple more retirements, and I apologize if I've missed some of them, but these are the ones I noticed in our report. In social and behavioral sciences, Kathy McGowan and psychology professor Dr. Antonio Cotolo-Rang are retiring after 20 and 30 years of service, respectively. So congratulations to them. And I told them, I said, congratulations on your graduation to the next part of your life. So I know that was kind of fast, but I wanted to make sure I got through a few things, and I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have. And if I know the answer, I'll proffer it. Otherwise, I'll search it out.
Well, I had more comments than questions, and one was congrats to PTK on their awards, and thanks to online education for the addition of that newsletter that can give faculty information about the online class. They have one place to refer. And I had a lot of comments about Professor Tom Grady and all that he's doing. So just kudos to that. But the question I had in that area is, what is a HyFlex? I know what hybrid is, but what is HyFlex?
So HyFlex is the faculty members in the classroom, and there are some students that are in the classroom, but then there are other students. Actually, in one example, there are other students at the Pioneer Career Center that are taking that same class. It allows us to offer low enrollment classes at Pioneer Career Center, but the students can come there And then actually students can opt to attend the class from work. We had one student whose boss let them off work, but they didn't have time to drive to class. So they had a space at their job and they were able to participate in the class at that time. And then the instructor uses technology that we have. And I should give a shout out to Dr. Jelena Ozegovich, because she worked really hard to make sure this technology worked for other people that we hope will adopt it. But she can do breakout sessions. And so it's not, just the people in the classroom and the people at PCC, but they can all interact, and she can monitor those class sessions using that technology. So it's a really interesting way for students to take the class how they need it. And so one of the things that we're working with faculty members, and we're identifying some champions to help other faculty members really get involved and engaged in doing this, because Dr. Moser and I and others have talked about it. It really is the future for us to meet our needs. And so we're excited about going forward. So Tom Grady is really invested in offering the training and best practices so that faculty can utilize this pedagogy in their classrooms.
That's awesome. And then I just have one more comment on the Skills USA, that the number of medals that they got was impressive. So
yes, absolutely.
Congrats to those students.
Yeah, congratulations.
That's all my questions and comments.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else for Mr. Pope? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the report, please?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, Mr. Pope. Next up is the Vice President of Student Affairs and Enrollment Management report to be delivered by Mr. Chris Myers. Go ahead, Mr. Myers.
Hello again.
Hello.
To be precise, we have 511 students walking through commencement at both ceremonies, but who's counting?
That's amazing. That's
511.
Wow. Big number.
So
It's a
more than
record.
That's just what's walking, right?
Just with walking, yeah. So very much so. So we're very excited for that. As you can imagine, a lot of our activities this month has been preparing for that. And so overall, I think we're in good shape. We anticipating that we're going to have a lot of individuals who want to celebrate, who we might not be able to get into the field house. So as soon as this meeting's over, we're going to turn over this room and have it be a live viewing location. So if you're looking for lunch, it will be downstairs in Lower Jewel, but smell the food too, in between the two ceremonies. I did want to take the opportunity to introduce our new athletic director, Mr. Greg McVeigh. He started last week. It's a pleasure. He came from Santa Fe College in Florida. It is really a pleasure to invite him back to the Kansas Jayhawk Conference. And so I just wanted him to say a few words of greetings, and looking forward to working. He's already hit the ground running, and tomorrow he's going to hit the ground running to Wichita to go be with our baseball team as they go into postseason play. But Greg?
Thank you for having me. It's good to meet everybody. I am so pleased to be here with all of you. We have a lot of work to do, but I can tell you that this is a great place to be. I'm grateful to be back in the state of Kansas at this point, and so it's really good to be here. Chris has been great for us, and we look forward to continuing the positive things that we do here at the institution through athletics. One of the things that I want to make sure that everybody understands is that we are just an extension of the learning process. We learn through participation in sport. Yes, we're an activity, and yes, we want to win and we want to do all those sorts of things, but to me, it's more about trying to develop the student both athletically, academically, and socially. So hopefully I'll have a chance to address you more with all the great things that we're doing, and it's great to see all your faces finally in person. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Yeah, I hope you can see that. I think we have a great partner here at the college, and in terms of especially going to the centennial celebrations and stuff like that. So it'll be a lot of fun to see what happens in intercollegiate athletics. With respect to the rest of my report, mission enrollment a little bit briefly. As you've seen the summer and fall enrollment reports, summer is holding steady. I actually looked at the numbers this morning, and to be precise, for the summer enrollment, we are up 2.12% in head count, but who's counting? Credit hours are still down minus 1.04%. So we anticipate that with semester winding down and that we'll see some slides on that. So summer's looking very good. As you saw in the report, we have some lag in terms of timing with our fall enrollment. Specifically, last year we had a tremendous amount of work and activity that went into doing the high school enrollments for the tech locations in April. So, which created like a swing in the report that you saw for this report, but it's really on par with what the previous years are going. To that point, and also with the presentation that I did of the enrollment management plan, we started a group that meets every Monday of key stakeholders to look at those enrollment reports so we can start working on that. So as of like Friday, the report that was presented till today, we've seen some gains. So the tech enrollment's already down 50% compared to 60% on Friday. So we're already seeing some progress in terms of getting that taken care of. And so we anticipate having much more favorable results for the fall enrollment when the next board report comes along. So I just want to make note that we're aware of that, but also as we think about how we create a much more proactive student enrollment management practice, I think we'll be much more nimble and flexible to predict that and make sure we're not seeing those big up-down swings in enrollment cycles, because it makes it very hard to predict things and plan for things when you have different cycles. And sometimes also related to COVID too in many ways, right? Is that we're still trying to figure out what that flow is past 2020, 2021, but want to make note of that, and we're certainly working on that. Other thing related that I wanted to speak to is out of a lot of comments and interest, we have improved our grade reporting instructions, and also starting this grade period, we've started to create a daily remote report that goes to all the deans that shows specifically which grades are submitted and not submitted, which has been viewed very favorably by the deans. Too little early to tell you the results because today's the grading deadline. So, but it will allow us to create a baseline so we can start seeing where we can start making specific improvements related to missing grades, no-show grades, and stuff like that. So we're establishing that baseline, but it's been very well received. And I think we'll see some improvements, not only with this grading period, but going forward too, now that we can measure it. And with that, I know we have a packed agenda and we have lots of activities that are in the report, but I'm happy to entertain any questions or comments from the report.
That was my only comment, was that when I read in your report the things that that you're doing to improve the final grade submission, and I just wanted to thank you for that, because I've been harping on that for 2 months now, and so
I heard you loud and clear.
That progress is being made. I thought that's awesome, so I wanted to thank you and everyone who's working on that.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, anything else for Dr. Myers? We have a motion to approve the report, please.
Move approval of the report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, Dr. Myers. Next is the Chief Marketing and Institutional Image Officer report delivered by Ms. Chris Green. Go ahead, Ms. Green.
Hello, and thank you. This month has been a busy month, and it's a celebratory month, and our team has been right there with it. And I just wanted to take a couple minutes to report some quick progress. One of the things that I always think is fun to do and great to do is we spent several hours doing video shoots this month, so that fire science, cosmetology, nail technician, computer support, cybersecurity, and electrical technology, so that we could create about 1-minute videos that we can use on social media and on the website. And the first one came in and it's looking great. Wasn't quite done in time to bring it to you, but look for it next month. And then we also have been supporting Perkins marketing funding with pull-up banners for each of those programs. And we have 2 supply trailers that both PCC and TEC use for different on-site work, and we have completely wrapped those. In fact, they're there today, starting the vinyl wrapping process so that they're an advertisement wherever they go. In addition, in the report, you saw the enrollment marketing plan, and we invested $141,700 in enrollment marketing for the summer and fall enrollment, which is about 20% more than we invested last year. We are making the shift from brand advertising to a little bit more enrollment-focused advertising to support some of the planning that you've heard about tonight. We also are a sponsor of Rock the Dot. And one of our strategies for the Centennial Celebration is to really own celebrations that are happening in Wyandotte County. And that concert series is at Azura Amphitheater. We were there for the first concert in that 3-part series, and we handed out over 1,000 fans, you know, because it's an outside concert. It was a sea of red that said horns up. So that worked really well. And we'll have 2 more concerts where we'll be at, as well as we'll be at the Leavenworth and Wyandotte County fairs this summer. Part of that celebration year is a centennial celebration. So this past year, I have worked with several steering committee members to organize a plan for the next year, and we'll be launching that plan at Convocation. We'll be having an internal birthday celebration at all 3 sites, not on September 10th because it's a Sunday, which is the official day classes started in 1923, but around that date at all 3 sites where we have birthday cake, we can collect items for a time capsule and just celebrate KCKCC. Then in the spring, we want to showcase things like this wonderful music program that you heard tonight, as well as all of the different departments and ways that we are engaged with the Wyandotte County community. So we will be having a showcase on campus in April. And then we'll be hosting events throughout the year to really bring alumni, students, and community members together as part of that centennial celebration. And of course, we will have a centennial magazine. This is an exciting time as students prepare for commencement. And my team does a lot of photography and videography around this time. And I just wanted to say thank you and give them a shout out for the quality photography. In the publications you see, not only do we hire photographers, but many of them are our own photography. You saw the boardroom photo wall, and I want to give a shout out to Raleigh, Tyler, Kelly, and Matt, some of whom are living large on that wall. In fact, make sure you start and look next time you go into the boardroom because it makes quite a statement and brightens that room up quite a bit. So I want to thank my team for all their hard work and look forward to seeing the commencement photography in the month to come. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions or comments for Ms. Green?
Thank you for everything, the marketing.
You're doing a great job.
Well done. Yeah, and you know, I particularly am impressed by the effort, the concerted effort to move from a more brand focused advertising to enrollment focused, you know, and it really, to me, reflects more of a modern approach to the way that students are receiving, or potential students are receiving advertising and responding. So just, you know, thanks for those extra efforts and just that mindfulness of that dynamic.
Move approval of the report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, Ms. Green. Next is the Chief Financial Officer report delivered by Dr. Shelley Knieven. Go ahead, Dr. Knieven.
Thank you very much, Chair. As we shared earlier in the meeting, the highlights for the monthly financials are that things are right on track as expected. We did have an increase in revenues of about $1.2 million, and the majority of that was additional revenue from tuition and fees for folks that are registering for the summer, as well as a few folks for the fall. And then also financial aid that's processed through the year, later in the year, smaller amounts, but like $284,000 in Pell funds were brought in, and some work study funds, and then some grant funds. So our expenditures were right on track with where we expect them to be with regard to our monthly burn. Just a note that it's going to be next month that you'll see a slight uptick in terms of the personnel cost, and that's related to doing the retro pay for the faculty now that their contract is done. So we'll be doing that retro pay all the way back to July 1st. So you'll see kind of a spike and then it'll level back out. But again, that was budgeted and it's all within the budget, so nothing that's unanticipated. As mentioned, we've gotten some progress in terms of our CDs, and we did close on our Commerce Bank one, and so that one's in place as well. And Dr. Mosier and I are looking at the books and figuring out if we can't take yet advantage of even more investments that will allow us to have enough liquidity, but also allow us to take advantage of this very unusual market. So we would bring those recommendations, of course, back to the Finance Committee and for the board for some direction from you all. But we're glad that we're able to do that. I was happy as I was working on the budget to bump up the revenue projections from investments and earnings for this next year. So glad about that. In terms of the division, we're working fast and furious on putting together the budget. We do have some preliminary information on state aid, which for the tiered and non-tiered is actually going to go down just a small bit, but we're going to get additional one-time money, at least assuming all things get approved. That'll be focused on cybersecurity, which is $250,000 for the institution, so we're glad for that. A $919,000 grant that'll be focused on apprenticeships. And we have very little information about that, but excited we got a higher allocation than we even thought we were going to get. And then additional money towards capital improvements from the state based on a new formula that they did. So more details will be forthcoming, but in all things at the state level, as far as the financials go, that was certainly all positive news for us. We won't know in terms of the property taxes and then to really engage with you all until mid-June when we get those valuations. We've run preliminary numbers based on the information that we got from the county assessor's office, but we'll be bringing forward all that information as planned in the budget calendar. But in the meantime, we're working on the expense side of the budget and trying to look at our trends and where we've spent money and where we need to spend money that aligns with some of these plans that you've heard about tonight in terms of the strategic plan, the strategic enrollment plan. So you'll see some information about that as well. A positive that I wanted to highlight is that KCKCC invests in its employees, and we participated in the Kansas Community Colleges Leadership Institute. So that's KCCLI. I always have to slow down there for a minute. But we had 4 of our employees participate in that. One of them was our controller, Leslie.
Yep.
And it's a remarkable program. Not only do they learn a lot, but they also learn leadership skills. They also go to all the community colleges throughout Kansas, and that's no small feat because they're spread out all over. But they are building their networks of colleagues to work with and to get information and share information. So just wanted to note that a sincere appreciation for the investment that the college has made in those employees and in particular some in my department. So it's a lot of work and they do it with excitement. And so it's a great thing. As Chris Green said, the executive board room remodel was completed. A few little tweaks here and there yet to do. We've got a few little things to fix and implement. We're changing out the doors, for example. And so still a little bit of work to do, but I encourage you to pop your head in. It looks great and is much more usable, particularly with the technology that was implemented because it was pretty antiquated what was in there before. And this is really usable. For meetings that are in person and with people in the room. It really makes it much more functional. Also, we worked with IT on adding a whole bunch of Wi-Fi drops over at the field house, and there was a big push to get that done before the graduation ceremonies because everybody's on their phone. And so we made sure that we partnered with them. The heavy lift, of course, was for IT, but facilities always helps in terms of pulling the cables and the data drops, and there's a collaborative effort there. So I wanted to highlight that. And then my last thing I wanted to share is on the upside, you know, we had been really struggling with getting fully staffed with the college police, and we have just had a huge amount of success here in the last, month and a half, 2 months. We are down to 2 vacancies. And that's pretty remarkable We do have one person who's in background check, so assuming that they're in background check. And we have a number of candidates that we hired that have their post-certification, so they do an expedited process in order to then be put basically in commission for us. And then we have several, we have 3 of them that are at the police academy, and that's a multi-month process, so they're not here yet, but they're coming. So we're very excited about that. We've been very successful getting just some great candidates, and I appreciate all the work HR has done and marketing has done. They've created a flyer, a brochure, we were handing it out, and it really has made a difference just talking up that career choice. And several of these people are people who had other careers that are mid-career changers, and they're decided they want to be a police officer, and they want to be a police officer at a college. So, great success and great leadership on the part of Chief Petsky. So,
Well, hurry up because Sergeant Bailey trying to pull me out of retirement. So
we'll take you.
I'm sure there are better candidates out there.
I don't know about if you have any questions, though, I'm glad to answer anything you might have about the division or about the financials.
Anything else?
No.
No.
Very good.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Kneven. May I have a motion to approve the report?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the Chief Human Resources Officer report delivered by Ms. Christina McGee. Go ahead, Ms. McGee.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Well, May is a exciting time for the Human Resources Office. So in April, we spent a lot of time planning for the employee recognition ceremony, and this is our opportunity in May to really celebrate and acknowledge those individuals that have had years of service milestones with us, as well as retirements and awards for Employee of the Year and Henry Lewis Teaching Award. So this is an exciting month for us. And as Dr. Mosier mentioned, there were several individuals that were recognized during the ceremony. And so we were happy to hold that event. But I do want to spend just at least 1 minute just recognizing my team. A lot of effort went into the event and just making sure that it was as perfect as it can be. And so a lot of hours spent, and I just want to thank them for all of their hard work. And seeing this ceremony through. I also want to take the time, it just wasn't HR, it was a team effort from across the college. And I want to spend some time just thanking Media Services for the work that they did, as well as marketing and facility services as well. And we truly appreciate all the help that went into this event. Also, I am excited to announce that we have finally, after months of a search, have hired our Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And so that individual is Michael Torres. He goes by Mike. And so he started yesterday. And so we are in the process of just getting him acclimated to the college, our culture, and I think he will fit in quite well with our team. And he's already kind of hit the ground running, meeting individuals, and even told me today that he has volunteered to help with graduation. So I think he's going to be a dedicated employee to KCKCC, and we are happy to have him. The other thing that we've been working on in late April, we sent out a survey to employees. We are in the process of we're wanting to create a professional development event. Anyone can attend, but we definitely are focused on staff employees that don't have an opportunity during convocation week to participate in some of the professional development activities. So we're trying to figure out a way to carve out a half day, full day in the summer where there's some downtime to have a professional development event. So we sent out a survey late April just to kind of get a feel for what sorts of professional development are employees looking for. You know, what are the best dates? What training sessions or professional development can our employees provide to employees? So we're gathering that data, and it is my hope that in the summer, we are able to utilize that data and actually develop a program or event for professional development. Again, all employees are welcome, but really trying to find opportunities where staff can have an opportunity to step away and participate in professional development. So that is on the horizon. We are also working on updating our landing page for career services just to be more inviting, streamlining information, and overall just making it look more appealing. So we've kind of started our plan for what we would like to see, and then we will also work with the marketing team to kind of make it look pretty and based upon some of the content that we want to provide. I say that's probably most of my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have for me.
Any questions?
I noticed the part about the benefits coordinator going to make the short scripts to answer questions. And I think that's good because when you start talking about benefits, it's just so much and they may not remember it all. So that's going to be great if they can have that and they can follow up with questions or whatever, but I just thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, and some of the feedback that we've gotten from new employees is depending upon when you start, there's a lag in when you get that information. So if you start, after the orientation that we only have orientation once a month, then you may have to wait a couple of weeks or a few weeks before you can get information about benefits and new hire orientation. Anyone can always reach out to the benefits coordinator at any time with questions, but we felt like it's important to have kind of on demand when you need it information and do these short videos. So she's in the process of working. She's developed the scripts, but now we have to shoot the videos.
Move approval of report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, Ms. McGee.
Thank you.
Next is the Chief Information Officer report delivered by Mr. Peter Gabriel. Mr. Gabriel?
Good evening.
Good
evening.
Has it really been a month? Seems like we're just here. Had a few things I wanted to talk about tonight. I want to start off with a thank you to Media Services, all their work that they've done to get to this point for this meeting here and all the work that they'll do over the next couple of days with commencement happening. So also, Shelley mentioned it earlier, I wanted to thank Facility Services for all the work they did for us getting the Wi-Fi upgraded in the field house. It's quite a different change. We went from about 7 access points to 19, based that on our number of people that we can hold in the field house. So you can really guess if we went to 19, that 7 really didn't cover the amount of people that we can hold in there. So one thing that I wanted to push that because the field house will be used not only for our commencement, but for Kansas Public Schools on, I think it's Friday and Sunday. So I wanted to get that done before this happened so we'd have that available. One of the things I wanted to mention that I highlighted on my report was the Microsoft licensing that we were able to acquire. It's a service that was announced over a year ago, but when they announced it, it was only for enterprise, and it's technically still only for enterprise, but we found a way around that. But what that licensing gives us the ability to do is take the burden off of the IT staff on worrying about whether we're getting the patches out and security updates and feature updates to all of our devices. And it kicks it back to Microsoft and does it in the cloud, similar to a device that's not on a company network or things. You get the regular Windows updates. It turns it basically into that service. So they'll get them from the cloud. It'll help us not only get them updated, but it'll also help us when we manage them when they leave our network. So if we send a group of laptops to a business for a class, it'll help us with that. So I received the licensing last week, and it was really hard for me to sit back and not turn it on and start setting it up. But could be impactful, so I waited until yesterday to turn it on. Classes were over, so I started to turn it on 2 or 3 times, but was able to hold back. So really excited about that. And then laptop checkouts were due back yesterday. So my final thank you and final thing I'll mention on my report is to the computed services staff for all the work that they're doing, checking those laptops back in, and all the work they'll do here over the next week and a half or 2 weeks to turn those laptops around, refresh them, update them and get him ready for the laptop checkouts that'll start on May 30th for the summer semester. So, and I'd be glad to take any questions if you have them on the report.
So watching graduation, we do that through the website or?
There'll be a link to, I believe, YouTube.
So somebody will send it out?
Yeah, and it'll be on the homepage of our website.
On the homepage, okay. All right, thank you.
I know during COVID, we had a large number of computer checkouts. Is that number still large or has it gone down?
No, it's still pretty high. I don't have the numbers.
Oh, I
what it was
understand
this
that.
semester, but we, in the fall and the spring, we average about 250 to 300. And then the summer, obviously, it's a much smaller number, but that's our average for what has been our average for the fall and the spring over the last 2 or 3 years. So, it's quite a number to turn around in 2 weeks to get them ready to go again. So,
and it speaks to the needs of our students. They really don't have a high quality computer or a computer at home, so gives them more opportunity. So it's a lot of work on IT to clean up and turn around and check in and check out and all of that, but it's definitely, we found very, very much needed by our students.
About student success. That's
Yeah.
what it's
That's
about.
right. That's right. You have a motion to approve the report, please?
So move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, Mr. Gabriel. We appreciate you.
thank you.
Moving on now to unfinished business, I'd like to call for Dr. Mosier and his presentation of the Downtown Project Biannual Update. Go ahead, Dr. Mosier.
Thank you, Chair Criswell. And Randy, I'm sharing my screen now, so if we can switch to that, please. All right, very good. All right, so, we talk about where we are with the downtown project quite a bit. But I thought this would be a really good opportunity to provide everyone and the board, and especially those who are listening that have not been aware of the updates and maybe watching online where we are with the project as well. So we're very excited. We have now completed both environmental studies, and Dr. Knieven emailed me and said that the environmental phase 2 study shows that there is no additional soil contamination that needs to be cleaned up, which was a financial question and concern. And we're right in the middle of doing our surveying of the entire block to the opposite side of the street, done by BHC engineering. So we're trying to hire local as much as possible as well. So hopefully by fall 2025, we'll see this beautiful building and or something like it downtown. And also thought it'd be a good opportunity to help share why we're doing this, because believe it or not, we still get questions, right? Well, why are you going downtown? Why that location? So here's why. To me, that's a pretty simple answer, right? So when you look at the poverty level of Wyandotte County and you break it off into different census tracts, you can see where we are in the middle of the county. But you can see where we're planning to put the new site in the east northeast side. Approximately 50% of the adults living in that part of the county live in poverty, and that's just way too high of a number. And I've always been a firm believer that your zip code should not determine your level of success in life. When you look at all the other socioeconomic indicators, it repeats this exact same pattern. So I'll go fairly quickly on this, but when we look at the county, we have 10 zip codes. I'll say 4 on the west and 6 on the east. English languages, as Trustee Bruni was talking about, can we get the downtown brochure in Spanish? Well, you think, okay, well, you think people, well, they'll read English. But if you look at people who can speak English well enough to obtain and maintain a job, there's only about 2,500 that don't on the western side of the county, but 20,000 that don't on the eastern side of the county. So there's a huge ESL need, right? Working full-time, living in poverty, people may say, well, the people on the eastern side, they don't work, da, da. You know, I've heard all those stories. I don't buy it, never have, never will. So people who are working full-time, age 25 to plus on the western side, about 4,000. On the eastern side, 18,000. So that means they're working maybe 2 or 3 part-time jobs, making minimum wage plus, and still cannot get out of poverty. And then that affects the children, right, and the future of our county. So it's almost 250% to 300% more children live in poverty on the eastern side of the county than the western side. And to me, that's alarming. That's scary. It's not right. In post-secondary education attainment, only about 9 to 10% of the people living in the eastern side of the county have a 2-year degree or above. And we know that education is one of the greatest economic indicators for success. Household median income is about 40%. In some places, it's half of what it is. So this is why we're doing it. This is why it's so important, and that we've been working so hard on getting this downtown center project going and doing all the fundraising. We know that boosting college degrees decreases inequality and it lowers poverty. Well, it also increases health. We know that as well. And employers are still struggling to find skilled workers. So serving as the chair of the board for Wyandotte Economic Development Council, I know that on average, about 7,500 jobs now a day, it used to be 6,000 jobs a day, go unfilled in Wyandotte County. And the average salary is about $44,000 of those jobs. So we have a lot more high demand jobs that are in our area. The screen is a little fuzzy to me, so I can't quite see it. But when we look at the global talent shortage, the bottom screen, 77% of companies now say that they have a skills gap, that they can't find skilled workers for their jobs. And we know that 50 to 55 to 60% of jobs across Kansas require more than a high school education, but less than a 4-year degree. And that's the community college. So that's our mission.
Yep.
And by 2030, the talent shortage will cost the US $8.5 billion in the 1 year of 2030. So this is the current lot. As you can see, it needs some help, right? So those buildings have been abandoned and left for, some for 20, 30 years or so. So from the big, beautiful building, you can see we have a lot of work to be done, and it is getting started, which is an exciting time. Looking down on the block, it shows the different lots, and we're looking primarily at the bottom half of the block, and I'll break it down here on this next slide on where we are with the status. So the top right-hand corner, that dirt parking lot area, and the bottom right-hand corner, which is also a dirt area, that is owned by the unified government. It's not land bank, but it's just owned by the unified government. So that's what I was requesting last week at the Economic Development and Finance Subcommittee of the unified government. And that's what will be taken to the full commission on the 25th. If we go back up here to the top, currently that northern half from the alley that travels east and west all that north, it's one block. It's one lot. It's one address. So we're asking to have that broken in half, and we would own the right side of that, and we're requesting first right of refusal from the Willa Gill Center to the left. On the church, you can see that's owned by the land bank, and the old Firestone burnt out building is owned by the land bank. So we have the UG owned land in progress. We hope to have that transferred to the college after May 25th. And we also have options in for the transition of the land bank property to KCKCC. So then we will pull from the survey, we'll pull that entire, we'll own all of that bottom southern half of the block and the parking lot on the top right. That will get all put into one lot so that we can build on it, get rid of all the easements and such in between. So that's where we are with the final acquisition of land, because we've already purchased the other. And as you know, with the 7th Street Church, after we were into the project about 6 months, we learned that it was a local historical landmark. So we did a lot of work with the Landmarks Commission, and it was approved in November 2021 that we could pull down the church carefully and save the historical elements and put them back in. But it was at the point in time when we had a building permit. Well, we're not going to have a building permit for about 9 months. That means that we would not open by August 2025. It would set us back an entire year. So a couple weeks before the UG meeting, I presented to the Landmark Commission with a proposed new timeline so that we can take the historical elements out, get them restored and readied and measured so they can go back into the new facility. As you can see, this is a conference room outside the art gallery, and really a beautiful rendition of, if you look at it, it's the west side of the church. Right, it's replicated for that, and all the stained glass is coming out of the church and going into different areas. The red brick that is salvageable, that's not too soft. The foundation stones that are sitting underneath the concrete seated bench, possibly the wooden floor, depending on what status it's in. So it's really the stanchions on the side of the conference room. So the Landmark Commission is very excited about that. And we went in with SKS Architectural Engineering that does historical buildings and such, and invited one of the leaders from the Landmark Commission to come in with us, which was great. So he appreciated that. You can see the trusses that were coming out of the sanctuary area and how they'll be repurposed to frame the east and the west side of the art gallery. If you focus on the very far right-hand side, you'll see all the stained glass windows that will be hanging inside the building's windows, so they're protected.
Yeah.
We'll be throwing all that beautiful light into the building, so that's just going to be gorgeous. And this one's maybe, at least on this TV, it's a little hard to see, but it's probably better on a regular set. This is the inside of the conference room. So we'll have a historical wall, the top right-hand corner, based off of the way that we designed our historical wall here at the college. There's an inset doorway. It's about an 18-inch inset doorway that's in the basement of the church. That's beautiful. We'll pull that out. There's a cabinet, which will keep the cabinet as well for some storage and utilization. On the lower picture, there's really two highlight stained glass windows in the church, key ones that will put there, and the wall will come out about 12 inches or so that we can backlight those stained glass windows, so they'll always be lit in the conference room. And then you just the other elements. So all of that is being looked at right now. We'll get a company to come in, and we need to clear out the church and residue that's in there, so we can do some 3D scanning here in maybe a month, and then start having, and probably be August or September, to start slowly taking the church down, pulling down the window, pulling out the windows to save them, pulling off the brick to save them. And then eventually we'll have to take the lid off and try and get those trusses out without damaging them. And part of the thing that we said with the Landmarks Commission is that we will have the sculpture. And again, this is one of Rita's sculpture. You can see the small wooden one down on the stand. So this is an 8 foot by 6 foot. It's 8 foot tall, 6 feet wide, 14 inches deep, sculpture called Destiny. And when you think of it, if you look at it, it's 3 discrete elements coming together as one. The project has ended up with 3 discrete partners coming together as one to serve the community. So it's really very symbolic as I look at it, as it's the destiny of the church and this location to serve the community for the next 100 years. And we of course we reached our milestone in fundraising as well to move the project forward. So here's the new timeline, and you can see where we are today. That's the middle of May. The next red section is demolition, and that goes from writing the RFP and doing all the paperwork during the first half of that bar, and then the selective demolition during the second half, and then the full demolition of the property after that. And then the construction taking place, hoping to have substantial completion by June, middle of June 2025, which gives us about a month and a half or so to get everything moved in and ready to have classes by August of 2025. I've added some financial information in here. Some is you've seen before, and some is new. But I think it's important that people really understand, where we are, or just the KCKCC portion of this. Our total funding goal is 48 million, or that's our target. We could go to 50. The college has invested 13 million, but OPM, that's one of my favorite phrases, is other people's money. $26.1 million we have raised for this project. So the balance remaining is 9 million. We have a $3 million earmark that we have out there. I've got a couple $1 million meetings coming up, so we'll continue to raise money. But people say, well, how you're spending so much money downtown? Just like they said, why is Mosier spending so much money on Centennial Hall? Well, look at it, it's beautiful. Students want to be here. It makes them feel good. It gives them pride. It's something that they deserve. And it's this,
It's full.
it's full, yeah, right?
Yeah, capacity, right? Yeah.
Right. So this is really an investment in downtown. And if you look at it, and even from a taxpayer's perspective, okay? So at our current rate, the college is actually paying only 33 cents on the dollar right now to build that building at the current, what we've invested at 13 and what we've raised at 26 million. So 33 cents on the dollar, we're getting that building. And if you look at the mill levy in Wyandotte County, it's about 52%, 53% of our revenue. So for the taxpayers, it costs 18 cents on the dollar to have that building and the services that we're going to provide in that building in the heart of downtown where people need it the most. And I think as we move forward with this project and we talk about budgets and such, that's probably a story that we need to be telling more. So it's not a dollar for dollar, it's 18 cents on the dollar right now. When we did our economic development or economic impact study, it showed that for every dollar invested in KCKCC, the return per year is $1.30. So that's 30% return. The stock market average return is 10% per year. So when I was at the EDF meeting last week, this big project for $930 million is saying that they return $1.30 on the dollar, right? So that's great. Well, yeah, so do we.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
But then if you break it down by actually how much of it is our dollars being invested, at 33 cents, that's a 200% ROI, because 33 to 66 is 100%. 66, you double that to 132, right? So we're getting 200% immediately ROI. And then at the taxpayers level, it's an immediate 300% return on investment for our community. So I'm excited about those numbers. Of course, I'm a numbers person, but the people that the facility will be able to serve for many, many years to come excites me even more. So we're getting there. It's it was a vision that is becoming a reality. And we've got a lot of really good people working on it. So I have to thank all the staff and the people we brought on with our owners rep and PGAV and the architects and everything. So it's we should see some action taking place early fall, and we will have the groundbreaking ceremony right around the time we turn 100 years old. I think September 8th is the date right now, to 2 p.m. So at that point, I would take any questions. Exciting times.
Yeah, these are very exciting times. Any questions for Dr. Mosier or any comments? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the report, please?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, Dr. Mosier. This is
Horns up.
Horns up. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, on to new business. I'd like to call for the presentation of the KCKCC policies presented by Trustee Linda Hoskins Sutton. Go ahead, Trustee Hoskins Sutton.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Board members, you should have had, well, you had this in your packet, the Smoke and Tobacco Free College. It's really an update. If you look at the bottom, it was first approved in August of 2015. And as you know, so much has changed with what's considered smoke. There's different versions of that. And so, and also in conjunction with the Clean Air Act. So that has been updated. But the next policy, 5.10, is a completely new policy. It is regarding consensual relationships. Are there any questions or comments or clarifications before I turn this back over to the chair for your approval? Okay. Well, thank you. And just a reminder, this committee does not meet in the summer because the Senates do not meet, and they are a critical part of policy approval. So we will meet again in September. And thank you to everyone on the committee for all of the work that you do to make sure that we have policies to guide us in the day-to-day of the college. Okay, okay, I'll do it, but I thought I was going to give it back to the trustee and she was going to do it. Okay. Trustee, I turn this over back to you to ask for a motion to approve it.
Okay, thank you. And excellent work, by the way. We really, really appreciate you and the committees. Okay, so with that, may we have a motion to approve the KCKCC's KCKCC policies? First one, Smoke and Tobacco Free College, and the second one being consensual relationships.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on now to the presentation of the employment of auditor to audit all accounts presented by Dr. Shelley Knieven. Go ahead, Dr. Knieven.
Thank you very much. We are bringing forward a recommendation to engage the services of Novak Burks. This has been our long-term auditor, and they do a fine job for us. They have proposed a total cost of $48,995. That is about 2.5% more than last year. It's $1,195 over last year. So given inflation, I think that's probably a bargain. But it's just normal cost of doing business increases. They'll be doing the same scope of services they typically do. And as I said, we're very satisfied with the work that they've done for us in the past and recommend that we retain them for this next year. And this would be for the college and the foundation. The foundation board has already accepted appointing them, so they also support that.
Right. Okay. May I have a motion to approve the employment of the auditor, Novak and Burks?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Knieven. Excuse me. Next is the presentation of the resolution of notice of intent to non-renew contract presented by Dr. Greg Mosher.
Thank you, Chair Criswell. You know, as a college, and we're offering classes to our community, we really try and keep an eye on making sure that our classes and our staffing meets the needs and the enrollment demands of our community. And this is probably one of the tougher times of the year, I think, for anyone. But as we look at enrollment decline, then we do need to make some adjustments to be able to match that and be able to also be good fiscal agents of our community. So we do have a couple positions that I do recommend that we have an intent to non-renew contracts. Again, it is nothing about performance or any of that type of activity. It's just purely based on declining enrollment of the college in specific areas. So the first item that I would have as a follow-up from our executive sessions would be looking for a recommendation to non-renew the contract of employment for faculty member Dr. Tamala Ice.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and it looks like we're going to need to also do a roll call vote. So with that, excuse me, first of all in favor, and then we'll, after the motion carries, then we will go into a roll call vote. All in favor?
We do the roll call in place of.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in, okay, all right. All right, I misunderstood the instruction here on the list.
That's okay.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to have a roll call vote then, and then will it be Cheryl that'll be giving the roll call, or should I give it?
Cheryl can.
Okay.
Trustee Ash,
Aye.
Trustee Brown,
Aye.
Trustee Bruni,
Aye.
Chair Criswell,
Aye.
Trustee Daniels,
Aye.
Trustee Hoskins Sutton,
Aye.
Vice Chair Isnard.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, and go ahead.
Yes, the second action, again, it's based purely on enrollment. We have very high quality faculty members. I would be looking for a recommendation to non-renew the contract of employment for the faculty position and faculty member of Dr. Terry Huggins.
And may we have a motion, and then we'll have a roll call vote.
So moved.
Second.
Could we have the roll call, Cheryl?
Trustee Ash,
Aye.
Trustee Brown,
Aye.
Trustee Bruni,
Aye.
Chair Criswell,
Aye.
Trustee Daniels,
Aye.
Trustee Hoskins Sutton,
Aye.
Vice Chair Isnard.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right.
Third item that I have, again, based on enrollment, is a recommendation to non-renew the contract of employment for faculty member Dr. Gina Ross.
You have a motion, please?
So move.
And a roll call vote, please.
Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Ash,
Aye.
Trustee Brown,
Aye.
Trustee Bruni,
Aye.
Chair Criswell,
Aye.
Trustee Daniels,
Aye.
Trustee Hoskins Sutton,
Aye.
Vice Chair Isnard.
Aye.
Very good, and thank you. And if I may just add one more thing, again, we appreciate the service that they have given the college. And they do have an opportunity to claim classes as they become available. And we look forward to every opportunity to try and make that happen for them.
Thank you, Dr. Mosier. Next, I'd like to call for a presentation of the proposed Board of Trustees meeting schedule for fiscal year 2024 presented by Dr. Mosier. Go ahead, Dr. Mosier.
Thank you. In your board packet, Cheryl has put together the meeting schedule. It follows the same pattern as we have for this year, for fiscal year 2024, and we share it at this meeting, allowing you time to look at it. And if you have, if you notice that anything looks incorrect or have questions, to please email Cheryl, and we will double check to make sure that we have the right dates. But it's the same. We have our regular 9 evening meetings, and we have our 3 morning meetings. And those that have an asterisk is an exception to the 3rd Tuesday of the month for various reasons. So if you would please just take a look at that at your leisure. And if you see anything now, please let us know. Or if not, if you would please email Ms. Cheryl.
And do you have a deadline for receiving any feedback, Dr. Mosier or Cheryl?
We would take action. Thank you for the question. Take action on it at our next board meeting. So before the next board meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Okay. With that, we have come to the end of our time together, so I'd like to call for a motion to adjourn the meeting. May I have a motion, please?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you again, everyone.
Do we need to stay for sign these documents?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.